Hey guys, welcome back to the TBR Diaries. This is episode 18. For those that are just joining us, this is a little journey that I'm going on to organize and go through my physical TBR books, the books on my physical TBR. Boy, I can't talk today. Um, it has gotten ridiculous and out of control, and it is over 200 books at this point, just sitting there waiting to be read. When I started this journey, I only had one bookcase full of my physical TBR, and I just started filling up the first shelf of the third bookcase. So even within this, I am still adding to my physical TBR because at this point, I just have to accept that buying books and reading books are two different hobbies, and they both give me pleasure. I get joy when I buy the book, and then I get joy when I read the book. So there we go. But yeah, let's jump right in. So the first book I want to talk about, this is a YA novel, and it is Love. Let's try this. Love Jacaranda. I don't fucking know. I give up. I'm really fucking tired of trying to pronounce things because I suck at it. But it's a YA novel by Alex Flynn. And it follows our main character, this young lady, who is in the foster system because her mother's in jail or in prison. And a video of her goes viral of her singing, and she ends up getting this offer to go to a prestigious boarding school by some unknown benefactor. And so she ends up being in this kind of world of wealth and privilege. She meets a boy, and but she doesn't know, she doesn't even go by her name, right? All her friends there know her as Jackie. um yeah, sounds like a good little story. Sounds like one that's gonna, tug at the heartstrings a little bit. I've never heard of this book. This was a book that I got in a blind date with a book box. um so I'm always excited to try new things. I don't know this author, and we'll see. I would love to hear if you have read this book, what you thought about it. I wish somebody would tell me how to pronounce her name properly, because I got no clue how to pronounce this name properly. Yeah. I tell you. The next book I want to talk about is The Wish Granter. And this was one, and let's see, first off, it's by CJ Redwine. And this was one that I got in my Christmas Advent book calendar. I don't know why I'm pointing my finger at y'all. This was when I got in my Christmas Advent book calendar. Not 100% sure what it's about. It's kind of about, it sounds like you've got a kingdom where all the royals die, bad stuff happens, and there's a twins, prince and princess, that are left, and the prince is now the king, and there's all kinds of things going on. Yeah, sounds like a good fantasy book. And that's really all I know. I will say though, beautiful kind of map on the inside of the book on the cover. Uh, but yeah, I don't really know anything about this book. I had never even heard of it until I got it in my Advent calendar. So I will be going into this one completely blind. Would love to hear if you know anything about this book. The third book I want to talk about is one that I know has been popular on here, and that is A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. I don't know if that's Danielle or Daniele. There's too many I's and E's in there for me to know how to properly pronounce that. Um, This is a fantasy romance that's kind of based around, it sounds like Viking mythology. But yeah, sounds good. I've heard good things about it. We've got our FMC Freya, and she's got some destiny she's got to fulfill. That's about the extent of my knowledge of it. It is a romance, so that's good. And this is one that I've almost picked up a couple times to read, but just for whatever reason, my little mood reader didn't want me to read it that day. Uh, so it's one I've been wanting to read. I just haven't been in the right mood for it, I guess. So yeah. But this is the first book, and my best friend pre-ordered the second book for me, which so I think that's released this month in March. But yeah, so once I get the second book, maybe that'll kind of spur me on to read this one. But I've heard it's good. I don't think I've seen any bad reviews on this one. But yeah, still just sitting on the TBR. And then the last books I want to talk about are a duet, and it's These Violent what was it? These Violent Delights duet. And so you've got the first book, These Violent Delights, and then the second book, Our Violent Ends. I got this set, and it's a nice hardback set, but I got this set in a blind date with a book box that I did. And I've had these for a while. I've probably had these over a year at this point. Um, but it takes place in the early 1920 or no, late 1920s. I think it's 1929. Nope, 26. I was wrong. 1926 in Shanghai, and you've got two rival gangs. But then there's something seems to be happening and is killing members of both gangs, and so they're going to have to come together to try to figure out what's going on. Yeah, sounds good. I it doesn't sound like there's a lot of fantasy in here. Although I don't know what this monster is going to turn out to be, so maybe there is a little bit of, the fantasy side there with that. Um but this is one where it sounds interesting, but I'm just never in the mood to read it. This is another one, like with A Fate Inked in Blood, where I've almost picked these up to read them a couple different times, and I'm just not in the mood. I feel like I have to be in the right mindset to read about a gang war. But yeah, so those are the 5 books, but 4 series that I wanted to talk about today. Let me know down in the comments if you've read any of them and what you think.